Hey, everybody. I am so excited about today's interview. And it's kind of interesting. Like, how can I be excited about this type of topic? Well, it's not because of what we're going to be talking about as far as the situation of what she went through. I'm giving us as little clues as possible of what she went through, but it's the result that she's gotten afterwards. There's oftentimes in life where, we go through challenges in our life. And when we're in the thick of it, we're in the challenge of it, it's a dark situation. It's a scary situation. But when we make it out to the other side, and then a year, 2, 10 years later, we see how we were strong through that situation. And my next guest, Lena, is a prime example of that. So Lena is a survivor of drug addiction and human trafficking. And she does not let that define her. So I'm going to welcome Lena Cebula. Did I say your last name right?
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. I'm excited to interview you because I must admit, when I first heard about human trafficking, which was, I want to say, only probably about 2 to 3 years ago, like I've been kind of blinded to it in my own little bubble here, and I know it goes on all over the place. It's going on probably, not my neighbor, but you know what I mean, in my neighborhood. And I just don't know what's going on. So it's one of those situations that we just like, we can be blind to it or be open to it. And I'm excited to talk to you about this. I'm not excited, but it's just my word. It's the word I use. But to talk to you about this, because I want to hear your story. And, we got about 20 minutes, give or take a little bit, but I want to hear your story, maybe like the shortened version, sharing your journey. But then also you've written a book called Miraculous. Was it My Journey from Hell to Heaven? I mean, wow, what an incredible title of your book. We're going to be talking about your book, why you wrote the book, and then what you're doing with the book, because I know that you're selling the book for a purpose. So why don't you just go and share with us, your story, this journey that you've been on.
Absolutely. And I think word excited, it's perfect word to use too, because before, even 5 years ago, nobody was talking about human trafficking openly. And I'm so grateful that I have an opportunity to actually raise awareness, because you're right. Everybody thinks that it's going on somewhere else in some third world countries, but not here. But it's happening everywhere. And we have to be aware, and we have to figure out what we can do together to stop or prevent the human trafficking. And my story starts.
Well, before you go on with your story with that, I do have a question, because what can we do? What can I do to be able to help prevent this? Because I'm not going to go strong arm somebody, who's doing it. So what can I do?
Absolutely. This is a great question, because sometimes we think we have to do something grand and something almost impossible. That's what's stopping us to actually take the action. For me, I partner up with organizations like Fight for Freedom. They actually create so many different prevention programs, and now actually can give you a website. You can post it so people can donate, people can participate in the fundraising, people can just share and raise awareness. And it's a huge part, because you never know, because there's somewhere someone could read that post, could read or see this podcast, or anything, can click that time and say, I know someone, or this is good for me. So that is definitely a good question. And I can post more information about that as well.
Awesome. And what is that website, just so I can make sure that we have that?
Fightforfreedom.ca, I believe.
.ca?
Yes.
CA. Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you. I wanted to just get that out there, just to make sure that we knew before you go on with the story, that how can we help? So go ahead and share your story, and I'm going to spotlight you right now. So just share your story, and I'm interested to hear how it turns out, because I've read some of it. So
yes,
it just breaks my heart to think that there are people who go through these kinds of situations. So you've got the floor.
Yes, absolutely. But I believe everything that happened to us happened for a reason. I'm so grateful that I survived and overcome, because now it's become my story. I didn't talk about it for 20 years because I thought if I tell people who I really am, they will reject me, abandon me, judge me. But it's been such a positive outcome from it. And it's brought me so much healing to talk about it, because now I can inspire, encourage, and give hope. So my story starts in Ukraine. I was born and raised in regular middle income family. Nothing was special. Everything was perfect that time. But then my family, my parents were struggling in their marriage, and they start drinking, and the really bad situation in the country didn't help, and they didn't have community or support, so they become alcoholics. So my home was always full of strangers, and at the early age I started drinking, I smoking. Nobody ever stopped me, and I continued that behavior, and my home was full of people all the time, and I became target from very young age. So I've been drugged in the basement of my apartment and raped numerous times, which is really just destroy me. So I was looking for different means to just numb my pain. So I was using drugs and alcohol. And then 1 month before my 15th birthday, I went to labor and I delivered the baby girl. I didn't know I was pregnant. I didn't know who her father was, but I knew my lifestyle would definitely make some kind of complications, because I was starving, drinking, doing drugs, and she passed away 3 months after her birth, and I buried her when I was 15 years old. So then I started struggle with anxiety and panic attack, and I was condemning myself and shaming um, for the fact that I have this child and didn't know that that innocent life was growing inside of me. So I turned to harder drugs, and here would be equivalent to heroin. So I was on heroin for probably 3 years. Then I saw people dying around me and going to jail, and something inside just told me that I'm better than this and I was made for more. And I decided to look for a way out, but there was no way out with people how I was in contact with, and my city was just swallowed by drugs, and it was unemployment, drinking, and drugs. So when this big offer of the job came in, I saw as an opportunity. And this very rich-looking lady invited me to her house, and I was so impressed by the sweets and coffee and her lavish lifestyle. And she offered me a job, and I didn't really think twice. I thought, wow, that's a great opportunity to get cleaned up and get off the street. But yes, I don't really remember um, the airport. I don't remember how I got through customs. Just one day I woke up and I heard the Muslim call to prayer saying, Allahu Akbar. And I didn't even know where I was. And I look out of the window, and that was like very warm summer day. And I realized that I wasn't in my country anymore. They actually trafficked me to a foreign country. I was in Egypt, and they afterwards they make me crawl under the barbed wire to Israel, and they sold me into brothel. So I lived there for 2 years, and almost 2 years. And it's very important where you end up, because there was few girls with me that died or never been seen again. So I was one of the lucky one that I end up in family-owned place, and I actually was able to make some money. And I had bodyguards. Nobody abused me, beat me, or raped me anymore. So I was clean and fed. And I thought to myself, it actually was upgrade for someone who would be heartbroken, but after my lifestyle, that was something better. Yeah, that's some
Wow.
of my story. And
Wow. So if I'm getting this timeline correctly, were you around 18 then when
I
that
was
happened?
18. I just
18.
turned 18 years old. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So 15, you had a child. You didn't even know you were pregnant.
Yes.
You had a
I
child.
yes.
And
Yeah.
then 3 months later, your child died.
Yes.
And had you, like you didn't know you were pregnant, had you developed any sort of bond once the baby was born?
That's why I think that's a curse and a blessing in the same way, because now I'm mom of three children, and I feel so deeply for women who actually have miscarriages or lost the child, because I know how would I feel if I have that baby. But honestly, the fact that I didn't know that she was there, it just hit me like a truck in that day, in that moment, that the child actually came from me. And I was I was like astonished. I thought it was not real. I was going through this like very zoned out. It was so much pain. Labor was intense, and I thought I gonna die, but I delivered this child. And
Yeah.
it was and the curse in it, because I carry her death with me for almost 20 years
Oh,
in my
wow.
mind, in my heart, in my soul. I felt that I was responsible for her life, because I was, So I never really up to that time forgive myself. But one of my bodyguard actually shared the gospel with me and talk about God right there in the middle of the brothel. Nobody ever stopped him, and I just been drawn to him. I'm thinking like, how this person have so much joy? It's impossible, like you in the midst of this like human sex slavery. But the
Hmm.
way he behaved, I'm just was curious, so I was listening what he was saying. And I have like huge encounter that you can read in my book what happened to me. But I decided to go home, and because I paid off all my debts, they actually allowed me to go home. But because one of my other bodyguard, who was like almost like a brother to me, he lied to me. He said that they will confiscate all my belongings, and I was making money. I bought gold, diamonds, clothes, so I give it to him, and he said he will send it to me, and he stole all my possessions.
Oh, gosh.
He stole all my possessions. And when I came home, I actually sent some money to my aunt, because I didn't want my grandma or my mom to know like where I was. Although well, my grandma did care, but my mom, like, she would take it and spend it. But my aunt took my money and stole all my money and spent all my money. So I
Oh,
literally
gosh.
came like to ground zero again. And I was so destroyed. I felt betrayed. I felt angry, because I'm thinking, how I got this money. And I had one gold bracelet that I had, and right away I bought heroin and went back on drugs like it's never happened before. Because
Hmm.
there was no hope, no dreams, no future, nothing. I was like in bare bottom again from the start. But when I was away, like my city been swallowed by heroin. So I become a right hand of the number one drug dealer in my city, because then I would get unlimited amount of drugs, unlimited money. I got respect and influence, and I thought to myself, wow, I'm kind of moving up in the world, although how crazy to think that way. But where I was before, I thought maybe that's what's gonna bring me peace. And I don't know. I was looking for something. I wanna just feel good with my brain and body and soul. And drugs kind of help me like to medicate this, not to go crazy. And then I realized I'm in the same pit as I was before. And I think 2 years after, I'm thinking I already using the dose of 5 people. So, and
Oh,
because I
wow.
don't have I don't have a limit. I'm like, I'm gonna die of overdose. I literally start saying to myself, I'm gonna die of overdose because
But you
I
still
have,
do it, right? You,
of
like,
course, you're
yeah,
a drug addict. People don't quit heroin because
yeah.
literally for 7 days, your organs shutting down, and people die from it because your body just cannot handle it. That's why people don't quit drugs, because it's so hard to go through withdrawals. I went twice because I'm so damn stubborn. I'm like, no way, I'm dying from it. And yes, and at
So there,
that
your
point,
stubbornness paid off big time, right?
thanks
Well,
God for that.
yeah. Well, let's fast forward to, because you're not doing that anymore. You're not doing drugs anymore. You've got a
Yes.
family. Life is completely different now than it was back then. So let's go to that moment where you were like, things just changed. Like, as you
Yeah.
said, I kept saying that in my mind, but you kept saying that. But what was the point where you said, no more, I draw the line. This is it. I'm changing my life.
Yes, that was the point when I realized, oh, I die or I gonna make it different. So I actually quit again, but there was no way I would be able to um, get out anyhow. So I actually find those people from my like before my past, and I sold myself. I want to go back to Israel. I want to go back to make money, to be clean and stuff like that. But they actually brought me to Canada. And in Canada, I realized, wow, I can learn English. I can have a different lifestyle and start my life from the clean slate. So that's what I did. I went to the shelter. I quit my drugs cold turkey again, and I'm start building my life. I went to ESL classes and start learning English from level 0. And in I got my first normal people job in Canada Wonderland. And then I applied to be a hairstylist I applied to secondary education for cosmetology course. And I finished my hairstyling course, and I've been hairstylist for 12 years. And while I was doing that, I met my husband. We have a baby. I wanted to tell him everything before our wedding. I want him to have a choice to marry me or to walk away. But he said, your past is between you and God. I love you for who you are now. And he did. He loved me all these years without even asking about my past. And I thought I never have to talk about my past. I buried it. And 20 years, it was there somewhere. Um, I give my life to Christ. I change. I had my business. I have my 3 children. They're beautiful, healthy. I've been clean for more than 15 years. I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. I have healthy community. And probably 5 years right now, 5 years ago, God led me to write this book. I literally cried for 3 days. I say, why do you making me do this right now? People like this persona that I create right now, and I enjoy this. I'm healed, I'm redeemed, I have this beautiful, glorious life. But he said, because sometimes when people ask who you are and where you come from, you're lying. And I realized that my carefully crafted answers is a lie. So I had to go back and I have to think again. And I wrote this book for 3 years. I cried so much, but it was not because of pain, of shame, of guilt. It was gratitude. It was gratitude that I didn't die a million times over. It was gratitude for my healthy body right now, for my healthy mind, for my healthy, clean home, for my beautiful, healthy children, for my husband who is crazy for me. Even after I told him, I said, do you want to read the book or you want me to tell me a story, to tell you my story? He said, I want to hear it from you. And I told him everything. And 2 things he said to me, you've been healed, and this book has a purpose. And he loved me even more. And it's crazy because one of my friends, he said, my husband would never marry you. And I said to her, that's why God created my husband exactly for me. And honestly, his love like melt my heart. But I know that was God in him that loved me, loved me, loved me. And he didn't ask me to write this book when I was like baby Christian. It was like almost 7 years I was loved and healed and taken care of, and saw his hand and faithfulness on everything. So when I step out and in obedience say I will write this book, I trusted that something good come out from it. I thought I gonna build my business as a salon owner because that's what I have, and it was successful. But I felt like I'm going like a fish against the current, because honestly I wasn't be able to take care of my family and my 3 kids and my primary like priority. And I realized like I cannot invest my time in my kids and the clients and actually give them attention they deserve. So I decided to close salon, and literally 6 months later I published my book and I become a speaker, and I just loved it. I feel like I fish in the water. I you see, I love to talk. I love to share my story. And after these 5 years, little by little, speaking out about, I don't feel like crying anymore. And it's like, it is exciting. It's exciting because before I thought, oh, it's story of shame and guilt and condemnation. But now I feel this is story of salvation, overcoming. And I want to inspire and give hope that no matter what you got through, like no matter what you've done, no matter what you've seen, no matter how it was before, you can have a healthy relationship. You can have a healthy family. You just have to like make a decision. The past is not your prison. You have to learn and you have to desire to change. And there's so many resources now, thanks God, that you can go and you ask for help, and an organization like Fight for Freedom will connect you with anything that you need, like if it's shelters or lawyers or advice or recovery. They help actually to rebuild life as well, not just help like, oh, quit the drugs, because quit drugs wasn't the hardest part. It's to learn how to live as a normal human being, learn how to speak, learn how to dress, learn how to behave, learn how to think differently. It's definitely a process.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And we only have a couple minutes left, so I want to make sure that we can connect people with you. You have your book. It's called Miraculous, My Journey from Hell to Heaven. That is on Amazon. I will put a link to that in the show notes so you guys can get that. Also, Love and Be Loved, and it's LOVEAND, the letter B, and then loved, no E after the
Yes.
E, after the
Yes.
B. And why is that? I'm sure there's a reason for that. I want to hear what that is.
Actually, when I create my website, I just like to be different. And when I wrote, it's actually love and sign and then letter B, loved. But for the website, you cannot use the sign, so you have to write and be loved. But if you see behind me that logo, that's how logo. And actually, it came from my book as well, because when I wrote the book, it just stuck in my head when I wrote and I said, I want to love and be loved. And I'm thinking, like, you know what? We've been created to love and be loved, and we all striving to love and be loved. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, because honestly, now 5 years later, I'm so grateful that I wrote that book. I'm so grateful that I speak and share, because it helped me so much to just don't let the past to be the dark cloud in my, I don't know, in my life, and see how people react. Because if you think that you've done something so bad that people judge you and reject you, you know this, you're not alone. People will understand. People will love you. People will support you, because we all struggle, we all suffer, and we all have a past. Trust me. So
And there's a thing about
that's
that is that
important.
it's so true. And that if you tell people and they judge you, then those are the wrong people. Just keep telling people, because you will find the people who will support you, like you said. So I have one last question, Lena. I want to thank you for your time. First of all, this is
My
incredible. Like
pleasure.
I know we could talk before we went live here. You said I could talk about this and that and this. And I was like, we only got 20 minutes, you know, so we got to kind of keep it short. So maybe I'll bring her back for another episode. But there's one question I ask every single podcast guest, and that is, what is one action step our audience can take today, tomorrow, or next week that will uplevel their personal and or professional life? One step.
Honestly, in my opinion, if you have desire to do something, just step up and do it. I know we have fears, I know we have discomfort, but know this, there's some reason you have that passion or that desire in your heart, and you're never alone. When you decide to go through that door, decide to go on that path, God bring the people and support and understanding, and you're gonna be so surprised that you can do this, because you're gonna feel fulfilled, and you're gonna know that there's there's where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be. Because sometimes that's happening, that fear actually stop us to take that action, and then you never know. So that's my advice.
I
I
love
know
it.
by personal experience. I just decide to do it, and I was scared, and I did it, and I'm thinking like, thanks God, because it was the best decision of my life. It just turned my life around.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. It's great advice, and, really think about that advice that she just gave, and, take stock of it and see how that can help you with your life, because there might be just something that she said right there that is the turning point that you need in your life to change the way you're living right now. This is Linda Sunshine West with the Women Action Takers podcast, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Okay, so I ended it right there, but we're going to keep on going. We've got some comments in here. So I'm going to just talk really quickly to my VA, Paolo, that's where we're going to stop the podcast. Okay, so from this point forward, do you have a little bit of time? Because I know it's really late for
Yeah.
you over there.
Oh,
Okay,
I
cool.
actually loving it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, first, I do want to ask a question. I found fightingforme.org. Is that it?
I just gonna double check.
Yeah, so let's get that. We want to make sure that we have that website.
And the coolest part about it, we in different countries. It's not only Canadian. I think like I got Canadian link.
Oh, that's what CA is, Canada. That's
Yeah,
like, what
I
would be
think so.
CA, So, okay, because I couldn't find that domain. I did a Google search. I wasn't able to find it. But yes, women action takers. And Patty says your past does not define you. And there was something you said there too, Lena. You said something like your past is not your prison.
Yes, I heard that somewhere, and I thought to myself, wow, what an amazing line. Because, like, if you start saying that to yourself, my past does not define me, my past is not my prison, that's a huge affirmation for you to change your mindset in the way you think. Because sometimes our own thoughts can put us in that prison, like, oh, you did this, oh,
Oh,
you
big
did
time.
that. It's very, very easy to get into that trap and thinking. And when you give power to those thoughts, they imprison you.
Oh, they really do. They so do. We got Joshua says, howdy. And let's see, Human Trafficking Institute says 80% of trafficking occurs at hotels, and Motel 6 is the worst offender. Wow. Wow.
You know what I would like to say about that? Because I'm part of this prayer walk fundraiser, and we actually walking and praying in the places that human trafficking occurs, and you're gonna being blown away. Where it's actually schools. It's a school ground, especially when it's low income family places. That's where it is. And predators doesn't look like this big, mean, ugly. guy who dragging the woman by the hair, that would be very visible and we would put stop to it. They actually look most of the time like friends, family members, boyfriends, girlfriends, when someone longing to love and be loved, and don't get this at home, they literally prey on that. They promise, over promise and under deliver, but that's how they set the trap. Sweet guy with the puppy kidnapping the children. And that's why it's so camouflaged. If we could see the evil, if they would be black, like wearing the clothes and mask and gloves and attack the people and kidnap them, stuff them in the van like we seen in the movie, you would right away think something wrong. But when the guy with the puppy in the playground say like, "Oh, would you like to pet my puppy? Do you want to go see the ice cream truck?" The kids don't even think twice,
Yeah.
So that's the scariest part, because sometimes even it's go long relationship, like the girl's been lured from the school and say, "Oh, this girl is smoking outside the school. Oh, she should be at the class. Why she's not in the class? Hi, how you doing?" And that's how it starts. Some very handsome fellow look at you and you think like, "Wow, look, somebody paying attention to me." And
Yeah.
then they use force, they was threatening me. If I run away, they kill me, kill my family, kill everybody. And then they put me on drugs, they beat me, they abuse me. So that's how you break the psyche into submission. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's just, it's a world that, unfortunately, I don't know anything about that, firsthand, but to hear it, I've seen the movies and I've seen the, all dressed this way and grabbing them and all that stuff. And, the girls kicking and screaming. But like you said, oftentimes what they befriend you, so they become a friend, right? And then, I mean, you think they're a friend, and then next
Yeah.
thing you know, yeah. Oh
Look,
gosh.
I end up in another country. I went somehow through customs. I bet like I go willingly. I wasn't kicking and screaming. That's why everything went smooth, because if something was wrong, the cops would stop and prevent it somehow. But I
Mhm.
guess everything went fine. And that's what I was saying too to some of my partners. I said we're watching for women in distress, but sometimes we just go like to the slaughter. We just willingly agree to whatever it is because it's fear-based, or or addiction, or anything else that they can use, against the human being. And especially like if you have a bad situation at home, like with your parents or something like that. My parents were alcoholic. They didn't even know that I was gone. That was crazy part. I
Oh
was
wow.
like 18 years old and nobody looked for me. Nobody looked for me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you went through all that, but I know that, like you said, things we happen for a reason, right? And there, it's unfortunate. I mean, what you went through was horrible, horrific, but you
Yeah.
survived it, and you're here to tell the story, and you're here to make a difference. Why don't you share with us about your book? Because, and actually, I'll have Paolo listen up. So I'm going to add this to the podcast also, because the book, you're doing something special with the book. So why don't you share that with us?
Yes, we actually have a fundraiser for Fight for Freedom, and I have an offer. If you buy the book from me, it's $20 Canadian plus shipping, no tax. I will donate from first book 50%, but if you buy second book, then 100% gonna go to Fight for Freedom. And this month's fundraiser, we can wear the lipstick. I don't know if you guys cannot see me, but I'm wearing bold red lipstick. And you can wear bow tie or a colorful ribbon. So you just, it's called Stand Up and Stand Out. It's just to raise awareness and share what you've learned, or just start the conversation, because sometimes you don't never know who needs to hear that story. And actually, I have this really cool resource that I'm gonna share with Linda, and it's for prevention and safe online um, program. So it's not only for the children, it's for everybody to be aware, because now through this pandemic, we're stuck at home, we're spending so much time online. So that's another kind of outlet that predators use to lure in the victim. So we actually, my husband and I, we are controlling where our kids going after school online, because they all have devices. So we're asking who they communicate with, where they're going, and we control the Safari or YouTube or any other apps, because sometimes it's said to say that even some advertising in the children's apps can be inappropriate as well. So I would share that as
Wow.
well.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And we do have a question. How did you get away from them in Canada?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, actually, what happened is I was legal here. I had my documents, and it was very interesting. I'm thinking like it's almost like God's hand here, because they could just lock me in the basement and make me live there, but they allowed me to go learn English, and they hired a lawyer to actually for me to have documents. And then I realized, so it's the opportunity for me to just break free, because I'm legal here, and somebody told me here in Canada that I have rights. And this is first time I heard that I actually a human being with the rights. And as long as you have like your passport and documents, you have rights. So I went to the police, and then it all started from there. And the interesting part, I got my citizenship like in Canada, and but I was living in fear. I think like first like 5 years I was living in fear how it's gonna be, but they let me go. So that's what it is, because I'm Canadian.
Well, so did you, when you went to the police, I mean, did they arrest them, or what happened with that?
No, the problem like with that though, it's me being on drugs. I have like no memory. I have no recollection like how I end up most of the places. And I think that's what I don't even like know the real names and real places, and they relocate us all the time. I didn't know where I was in general. When you come into another country and you just newcomer, you don't even know where you are. You cannot speak the language, you don't know where you are. If you come out on the street somewhere and they say point out the house, I don't know even the house, like, you know what I mean. It just very interesting. So yeah, and I think that's what give me peace, maybe because they understand this. If I was here for like years and years, that would be different, but I was like just few months here. Yeah. So
Wow. Wow, that's just crazy. So again, you can find her book. It's called Miraculous. You can find it on Amazon. I put a link. It's weird. It just went to YouTube. I'm not sure why, but I'll put it on the other locations there as well. And you can just, go and click on that link and get her book. And again, remember 50% of the first book you purchase goes to Freedom. What is it called again? Freedom.
it's fight number 4, freedom.
Oh, fight number 4. Okay.
Yes,
That's
so
why it's
it's like www fight number 4 freedom. I have
.ca.
.ca, but hopefully you can find the US side, because I do believe we had something like 21 countries right now, like
Oh,
part
wow.
of this. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, and that's great. And you can literally you can donate, you can pray, you can partner up in so many different ways. And even just to share that website on your social media, I always say, I just learned this, I just heard that, and that's definitely will somebody will see it and say, oh, I know someone, or I need this myself.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for everything that you're doing, to raise the awareness, because like I said, I didn't even know about human trafficking until just a few years ago. And it was just through my connections with other people that I've had along my journey. And really this awareness is so important. And like you said, it's, that like just bringing that awareness, and there's different ways that we can help. There's different ways that we can help. And we don't have to be like, it doesn't have to be a huge help, because every little bit helps. Every single little bit helps.
Yeah.
So go get her book. Again, it's 50% she'll donate to, I forgot the name. Fight for Freedom, the number 4, Fight for Freedom. And then 100%, if you buy 2 books, 100% of the second book will go to Fight for Freedom. So go check it out. Show the link again. I will do that. Patty, thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I didn't shout any names during the interview because I'm doing this. This was a podcast interview. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. We have Mary and Patty and Sally, and everybody's name ends with a Y. I'm not sure what's up, except Patty, it sounds like a Y, but it ends with an I.
And thank you so much for inviting me. You're amazing. Like, honestly, when I met you, I'm thinking, yes, I really want to come and do some collaboration, because you're amazing. And Sunshine, it's perfectly fit you and your personality, but on top of it, you're very professional. You're awesome. I love to read your post. I love what you're doing.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for this opportunity, because it's an amazing platform to encourage and support women. I'm so grateful for your work, and so grateful that you invite me to share this story, because I'm so excited that people are actually talking about this, because we need to know this. We need to talk about it.
And I'm going to offer this up. So we have, I think this is Abigail, I'm not sure, watching inside of our Facebook group, Women Action Takers. And Patty, if you're still doing interviews, do you know Patty Mays? Have you met Patty?
I don't know. Maybe I did.
Because I would love, I think you would be, Patty, if you're still doing interviews, if you want me to connect you with Lena, let me know, because she definitely would be in alignment with what Patty does. She helps people through trauma. So it's definitely a great connection there. So I'm going to connect you to anyway, and then whatever happens from there happens. So
I'm open and willing. I'm 5 years ago, I thought, why do I have to do this? But now I'm like, I love it. Just God, take me, use me for everybody. If I can change someone, like one person life, I'm gonna be so grateful. It changed my life, to speak about, to be open about it. It took such a huge burden from my shoulders. And now I just blur that, I'm drug addiction and human trafficking survivor, and people taking aback, and they asking me question, and then start being more curious and more aware, and saying, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. But then another thing that I'm really excited about it, they look at me right now, especially people who know me for a long time, and they said, is that true? Is that really you? Is it really possible? No way. You're so different. Like you are no broken or damaged, or like the way drugs can make us feel worthless and hopeless and helpless. I love my life. I know it was hard beginning, but everything happened for a reason. I have so much gratitude that I didn't die some roadkill million times over. I love my life. My body is healthy. My mind is healthy. My soul. And I love what I'm doing. I love where I am. My home is beautiful and clean and peaceful. And it just brings me so much joy to share that with people, because sometimes we get trapped in our own mind thinking like, I did so many bad things. No way I can have peace and love and wholeness again. But then like you see me and I can tell you, I understand. I've been there. I went through so many different things. If you can name one, I can say, I know. And there is hope and there is peace. It is possible. And I hope and pray that people who watching or listening just say, you know what, God, if you did this for her, do it for me. I want a peace. I want a love. I want that care and joy. I want to have a good life.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I'm
that's awesome.
excited.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm glad I met you. I met you at an event, selling on the spot marketplace, I believe was the event. And you talked about your book. And I was like, oh my God, I got to interview her. Like I just knew it because this is something I wanted to learn a little bit more about. And from somebody, and here's the thing is it is like you said, you had so much shame over this previously, right? How many other people, because there's boys are trafficked as well as
Well,
girls.
absolutely,
So
yeah.
how many people are out there that have a somewhat similar story who aren't sharing it because of the shame they're feeling? So you stepping up and saying, I'm here to tell my story, to talk about this situation, the shame that I went through, and how I'm here now on the other side of shame. It's no longer, I don't feel shameful for it, So this is so important for your voice to be heard as much as possible. So I want to thank you, for stepping up, writing your book.
Thank
And,
you so
it's really a blessing to this planet that you're doing this. So thank you so
Thank
much for
you
what you're
so
doing.
much. I appreciate you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Yes, I think that's Abigail again there. And Patty says, how can we buy directly from Lena? So can they buy directly from you, which is a great question because Amazon gets a lot of the money.
Exactly.
How
Amazon
can they,
taking most
yeah,
of the money.
yes, how can
And
they get from you?
I have my books here. You can buy directly from me if you contact me from my website, or you can email me to lenacebula@gmail.com. So it's my first and last name at gmail.com. And just give me your mailing address and I will sign the copy for you and I can mail it. And it's probably for US, it's gonna be $11 or $12 shipping. But that's what I do. When I have to do shipping for US, I donate 100% from whole book. And that's it. You just pay shipping, but I donate that book to Fight for Freedom.
Fantastic. Awesome. So go to lenacebula@gmail.com so
Correct.
that you
Yes.
can buy the books directly from her. That was a great question. Thanks for
Yes,
asking that,
it's a
Abigail, because
great
I,
question.
I, I didn't even think about asking that because that's true. Because, Amazon takes a lot of it. They take way too much of it. So well, here
Yes.
we go. See, I would like to buy, I knew that was Abigail. She'd like to buy some of the books. So we will connect you. So Abigail, go to the, Lena Cebula @gmail.com, email her so she can get you an invoice of some sort and however you guys work all that out. So that'd be fantastic. And she is in the US,
And you know
Abigail.
what's amazing part? Because when I became a Christian, that was my dream. I just want to write the checks to organization that I'm support because they actually moving the needle. We don't have to go and physically fight, but we can do so many things. But for me, being so poor all of my life, I thought monetary gift in general funds would help them so much to put the money where they need it and save people lives and making this book and buying this book. So I have a book and now I can give that to people, collect the money and give it to the charity that I support.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's make me so excited because somebody can read my story and be inspired and I'm donating that money. So it's two things that it was so dear to my heart. That's how it happening. Just because I said yes to write this book,
Mhm.
literally everything. My life changed. Now I'm creating podcasts. Now I'm blogging. I speak a lot, and this is my comfort zone. Although I still get scared. It's not my comfort zone to speak and stuff, but I know God show up. I know that what I supposed to do. I know that this is what I've been born to do it, and God allowed me to go through everything so I would speak now. So I just show up and doing it, and He take care of everything else.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and keep doing it. Keep doing it. You'll be an inspiration for somebody else to do the same thing. So thank you for sharing your
I
message.
hope
Patty
that
says blessings to all. Patty sent you a private message, so make sure you
perfect.
look for that. And I want to again thank you for your time, and I'm sure I'll see you again on some other some other something, because we do a lot of networking different in the same circles. So I'm sure I'll see you around there. And everybody have a great night. And Lena, I know it's like almost
Thank
11
you
p.m.
so
for
much.
you.
You know what? I was so worried because I didn't realize this is the time difference, but it was perfect time for me to finish dinner, to put the kids to sleep. And actually it was no rush. And now they sleeping and I'm comfortable and I can take my time. And it's just beautiful. Everything happens for a reason, you know, it's
Yeah.
been perfect timing. So
Yep,
I'm
exactly.
excited. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, guys, all of you, for listening, to asking all these questions, for buying my book, for supporting this cause, and share this, talk to people. You know, there's someone who needs to hear this story, and I'm open and willing. Just ask me. I'm here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thanks
My
everybody for
pleasure.
tuning in and sticking around. You know, many of you stuck around the whole time. So thank you so much. I do appreciate that.
Thank
And
you.
like she said, you know, share this out, because there's somebody out there. There could be somebody out there who has experienced something like this in their life and they just don't know how to deal with it. So maybe Lena's story will help to inspire them, even if it's just journaling their story so they can get it out. Like she
Absolutely.
said, she cried for
Yeah,
3 years while she wrote this book, but that was 3 years of healing. 3 years of
absolutely.
healing.
I
Yeah.
call it therapy with God. I just went to therapy on my own, and you
Yeah.
know what? It helps.
There you go. There you go. I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lena. And I'll see you around
My
on Zoom
pleasure.
somewhere.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
And you have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.